Hi, I just made a video and I'm going to make another one. Again, I'm Denise Newton Fitzpatrick. Come down, Julian. And my son, Julian. And we are what? What are we doing? We are advocates for fair housing. Because me and Julian, as many know, as I said before, we are victims of housing discrimination as proven in a court of law. We're advocates. We're strong fighters for you to have fair housing. You see, we don't want people to have to go through what we have gone through as victims of housing discrimination. It is, as I've said before, a monster of injustice. But as I mentioned on my last video, I have always loved the fair housing laws. I have always had interest in the landlord-tenant statutes for as long as I can remember. I remember one time when I lived in another place, and there was some things wrong again with what some landlords were doing, and I went to the legal aid, and they told me this. They said, with your tenacity, I want you to go to the Atlanta then. I want you to go to the Georgia State Law Library and get a little red book by an author named, his name was William Dawkins. And the legal aid attorney said, I want you to study that book because of the tenacity you have. And because we have a lot of people that don't know how to stand up and don't have that type of that we put first to represent. But she said, with your tenacity, there's something about you. I want you to go get that book by William Dawkins. And I want you to read it. And then I want you to represent yourself. That is called pro se or proper, a pro se litigant. Somebody said she wasn't supposed to have told you that attorney. I don't know why they said that. Maybe she wasn't. I never dug any deeper to find out if she was or wasn't. But all I know is that I wanted to know more of what then was in that book by William Dawkins. So I went to the Georgia State Law Library in Atlanta, Georgia. And I began to go there daily and read that book. That was where the the students that studied law, that's where they studied. It was a law library. The Black's Law Dictionary, I got into all of that, jurisprudence. And I read that book day by day. I represented myself in a case for the first time against a landlord. And I won. You know, I was sitting here earlier before I made the last video, and I said, I really defeated quite a few landlords. When I say I, it was God who really fought my battles. So when I say I'm really saying I just acted in harmony with my prayer. So don't forget that when I say I throughout this video or any other videos, it's really him that gave me the knowledge, because nobody's arms are long enough to box with his. But I ended up defeating that landlord in a court of law because I studied that book. You see, knowledge, as we know, is power. And a lot of landlords, sad to say, don't know the laws themselves, or they know them and don't assume that just an everyday tenant is going to study those statutes. So they have a way of wanting to walk over you. Well, again, earlier I was looking and I said, how many landlords have I defeated? Now, there wasn't a lot of big money or anything offered or collected, but ever since I studied that book, after many years ago, and defeated that landlord, I have continued in research of the law. As I said, I've always had an interest in the statutes, then and now. So when I thought about it earlier, how many landlords have I really defeated? And again, when I say I, it's God who defeated them because he fights the battles. The battle's not yours, my dear. It's mine. Let's see. There was Linda and Abe in Atlanta. They had the houses wired together. There was no meter on the one house. The house was a rooming house. But I had been a tenant with them in a sort of like a extended stay setting. Me and my son. It was many years ago. And they had a rooming house. And I always paid on time at the extended stay. And they came to me one day, they said, would you like to rent a whole house? And I said, I think they were having problems with people and they were tired of the rooming house situation or something. I don't remember all of it exactly. But I remember saying, sure, what do you have? And I was taking over, me and my son, and I looked at a house, a little house. I think there were like 4 tenants or something there. Well, I told her that I would like it. It looked cute. I looked around. And I think as I remember, I met a couple of the tenants that were there in that rooming house. Then I went back with the landlord. I remember his name was Lyndon Abe. Hutchinson, I think, was her last name. I can say it because it was in public records, you know. And I remember going back again, and they woke the people up. They said, you got to go. We got somebody else going to move in. They're going to rent the whole house. That was me and my son. That wasn't the right way to do that. But that's what they did. Well, there was a meter that just their house, and some kind of way was a meter at the room. I forgot what was, but the house was wired together. It seems like there was no meter on the rooming house, but there was a meter at their house, and it was wired to, and then they would have it read, and they would charge the people something kind of way, something, but it wasn't right. It was a fire hazard. And I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, I wish I'd kept all those documents. I don't know how long they keep public records. But it's been so many years ago, and they maybe end up being stashed or lost or gotten rid of. I'm not lost, but just, I don't know how long they keep them. But I should find out. I like to have all those old records, you know. And I can't remember everything exactly, but I do remember that I stopped paying the rent because it became roach infested. I couldn't get them to do anything, and I ended up calling the fire department and subpoenaing this and that. But anyway, I ended up, they come over, harass me for the rent, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I remember telling them, you walk in a courtroom with me, I'm going to eat you up. I remember those words. And I remember going to court, and I remember they lost, and I did, maybe the judge allowed me to like cross-examine them, and I wasn't all that good at that then. And I remember the judge saying, well, you can't ask them that way or something like that. The judge, what do you want, Ms. Fitzpatrick? I won the case. And there was another, I just said from the top of my head, everything. There was a lady named Linda, can't think of her last name. It's another case years ago, too. It was after that. Yeah, it was after that. And that one did some things, too. They had no vents under the house. They violated the warranty of biddability, too, implied warranty. They had no vents under the house, and the house become mice infest. It was like a renovated, refurbished, had been really an older home, but been restored. And I remember that happened, and I remember calling the housing code, health department, and housing code because they had some windows boarded up for some kind of reason. I need to get, if I can get these documents, I have a lot of it in my email, still goes way back about that. And I'm going to go way back and see if I can find that still in email. But that case ended up she lost that too, because the health department start coming out and ordering her to do this and do that, and some kind of way, I'd stop paying to. And this thing about stop paying, some states allow that. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But I'm just saying, escrow accounts and stuff. But some, this goes into that. But anyway, she was defeated. Next, I'm just rumbling right now because I'm on the top of my head. And of course, then there were Saul, old Caucasian man named Saul. He ended up having a heart attack, a stroke, and he ended up passing away. And his wife, they did some crap, and they lost. They got scared. But I'm gonna backtrack. The one before the Saul, the lady Linda, she ended up having to pay me. I do a constructive eviction or something on that one. I can't remember exactly what, so I shouldn't be talking about it because I can't even remember exactly off the top of my head. But it's been about 5 landlords. And then, of course, I defeated a government entity back in 2015. I've talked about that several times in a court of law, and I proved illegal housing discrimination. These are just some of the documents and public records here at District Court in Raleigh. This is public records file CVD, C Cal V Victor D Dog 9292. And this shows that I was granted a motion for preliminary injunction pending trial, and the government entity lost their motion to dismiss. This was a case of illegal housing discrimination against my son. Housing discrimination, when proven in a court of law, as ours was, constitutes a civil rights violation. So that government entity was defeated as well, and meaning that I ended up being granted a motion for preliminary injunction pending trial. I established a prima facie case, meaning the first appearance of a lawsuit, the judge found that it was illegal discrimination at the first appearance, and that made me be granted a motion for preliminary injunction pending trial, while the government entity lost their motion to dismiss. Denial here. And that is, that. But again, in the case, of course, I've said many times, this case was in the paper because after I defeated the government entity, there was something illegal done to keep from going to trial, but that goes in, and there's a whole lot that after that, wow, that I haven't really made a video on, but it has been, these things here are just a tip of the iceberg. This is my son in the paper, and of course the cover, and there's something in here. This is still online. You can Google this under why was a Wake County woman's lawsuit settled against her will. If it's not settled, But this here in what they did and all some other illegal stuff, wrongful stuff they've done. So this is what I'm proud of, because being a voice for mental illness, the homeless, when I did this was not just speaking for me and my son, but for others. And of course, back then, many would come to me, they'd say, you're modern day Rosa Parks. People would say, where do you get the courage? Where do you get the boldness and all this stuff? This took a lot of courage to do this. You weren't scared, blah, blah, blah. You went against government. You could have done this, you could have done that. And, where did you get that boldness and the courage? Well, I tell people it's godly qualities. And in all reality, as I said earlier, it was really the God of the Bible who fought our battles. And he, of course, is the one who defeated not only the government entity, but all the other landlords in the past. And as I said, I think it's about 5 of them, 6 of them that were defeated in cases many years ago. And it was him really all along that gave me the knowledge to defeat these violators of laws. So, I'm proud of these things, because I am proud to stand up and to be a voice for the homeless community. And another thing I'm going to say, I've been writing a book for years now, and I have stopped and I've started and I've added and I've amended. And people probably wonder, she's really writing a book. I mean, it's going to be a mighty big book, She's been writing for years, But I have to say, and I'm proud to say, that there will be book signing before long. The book is coming. I've been saying it a long time, but the book's coming. Now, I'm not going to talk long because I think many already know what I do. It could be somebody could be listening, it could be the first time listening, but I am serious about fair housing, and I think that rather that in to have this type of a heart to stand up for others as well is a good thing, because this is what we are supposed to do. As children of the Most High, I was hearing someone trying to figure out, as children of the Most High, we are supposed to stand up for others. And like I said, all that going on out there, and people all out there in the news and in every media outlet you can think of, and all that stuff they're talking. I wish somebody that with all that mouth and all that voice would using that voice to help people that really need advocates with big mouths like that to help the lowly and the poor. Because all that don't mean nothing. If you don't have a heart to help somebody, all that running your mouth and all that Republican, Democrat crap and all that. I said, I wish them people had a heart to help others, to help the poor. If they could use their mouths and their voice, and they're getting it all out in the media everywhere with that bad message and that wrong message. It's a waste of time and energy. And these people don't even know what's going on. And I heard somebody say all about debating them and all that. I wouldn't waste my time. I ain't got time to wait. I'd use my time trying to get somebody some fair housing. I would not waste my time going back and forth with people talking about for what? I look just as stupid as them. To me, they look so stupid. They look so stupid to me. With all that energy and all that mouth and all that getting all in every newspaper and every media outlet all over the world almost, talking about a bunch of nothing. I'm like, I wish that these type of people could use that mouth to stand up for the homeless and the mentally ill. But you talk about black Republicans and all this stuff. The crap's the mark of the wild beast anyway. If you knew anything about Revelation, you would know that crap, what you talking, one thing is about the devil, all it is the devil. It's Satan. And they don't know what's going on. They think they're so smart and so intelligent and all this media and all this money and all that. How pathetic. Because they don't even know what's going on. They are really serving the enemy. Because it doesn't matter about all that stuff, talking about each other. One is saying Black Lives Matter, all but the same party now. The other is talking about the blacks. They're supposed to be pulling the black people to the right, to the Republican. Then the Republican wants to make like they for the black, but then you got the people down there talking about the black, and so that might make the blacks not want to go. That defeats the purpose of the one that they're supposed to be helping to get the black vote. Oh wow, really? Come on, give me a break. I wouldn't waste my time debating with any of that stuff. If somebody came to me, if you would have asked to do what? And I would look so that, you know what? And then you got these people saying, oh, they're so smart and intelligent. Really? Smart? Honey, smart serving God. Smart is having a heart to help people. Smart ain't talking about people and stabbing people behind their backs. That ain't smart, you know. But I hear people say they're smart, so let me, you know, I'm gonna listen, you know. They smart. I'm like, no, that ain't, I'm sorry. People think these people are smart. What's that saying about them? Let me get over here, you know, because I might get some nasty comments. I really, really don't care. But I didn't get on here to really, you know, knock anybody for what they want to do or what they want to say. But I just say, I say, wow, if we had that voice. I I wish we had that voice. Imagine how great it would be. And those kind of people, and those kind of things, they go all over the world. And somebody that's fighting for fair housing can't even get a subscriber. But that's all right, because the God I serve has got me and my son. So if anybody wants to collaborate with us again, we love to have you. We love to have your voice. We love to have your courage. We love to have your boldness as we stand up for people who are being done wrong in substandard housing. Substandard housing does not meet the housing requirements for safe, decent, and sanitary. It don't meet it. My email from the Senator Tom Tillis, it's on my Facebook page, and I'm going to print it so I can, but I've made videos about it, and that letter is way down on my Facebook page. But fair housing, this is very important. This is really important that people have a safe, decent, and sanitary. As the Senator said, Ms. Fitzpatrick, we can agree that safe, decent, and sanitary housing is necessary for the stability of families, neighborhoods, and the communities. And that is so right. You know what? If I could get a commercial made, I got a lot of things I want to do, but everything is Pro 319. Everything is a stand up for fair housing, because we're victims of unfair housing. As I've said many times, I can't reiterate it enough. But I'm going to get off because I'm going to get to writing on the book so it can finally get finished. And I don't know, I may do some, I want to reach a lot of people because I want the big groups, it's power in numbers. And I got a passion for fair housing, babes. You lovely people out there, I got a passion for fair housing. I have a passion for people to live without roach infestation, fire hazard conditions, loud noise above their heads, and all the other wrongs. I want you to collaborate with me and him so that together we can help them and us to be happy and have enjoyment in housing. Because I and him have walked these feet, these feet, and them feet. We have walked hard in the shoes of housing discrimination. Have a heart. Have a heart. I know you're out there. You got to find me and me you. And I pray for it. And I'm going to find you. But here we are. And please, people, know that one of my main hashtags is hashtag She Fights for Rights. And when I put that in Facebook, it happens. It doesn't happen. Then I got to put it again, and then it goes through. Why? I don't know. But hashtag She Fights for Rights. We got a new hashtag. That's several hashtags, but I'm focused on these two right here. There's a new one, and it says hashtag He Fights for Rights. Have a good evening. Goodbye now.